Good morning. Welcome back to One Sober to Another. I'm Wayne, an alcoholic of 23 years who has been living sober for 6 years. Today's video is the Daily Reflections of Alcoholics Anonymous for February 9th. Surrender, self-will. Now that might be scary for a lot of you folks, but key in because it can apply to your life. Let's go. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Now, if God just threw you off, folks, don't disappear just yet because there's more. No matter how much one tries, exactly how can one turn his own will and his own life over to the care of whatever God he thinks there is? In my search for the answer to this question, I became aware of the wisdom with which it was written that this is a two-part step. I could see many times where I could have died, or at least been injured, during my previous style of living, and it never happened. Someone or something was looking after me. I choose to believe my life has always been in God's care. He alone controls the number of days I will be granted until physical death. The matter of will, self-will, or God's will, is the more difficult part of the step for me. It is only when I have experienced through enough emotional pain, through failed attempts to fix myself, that I become willing to surrender to God's will for my life. Surrender is like the calm after the storm. When my will is in line with God's will for me, there is peace within. You don't have the daily reflections, you can always go to alcoholicsanonymous.org, and that link is in the description below. Why did I bring this up today? Well, because it's very simple that through my turmoil and through my detriment during my active alcoholism, I was near death many, many times. But why is this so important for today, February 9th? Aside from being part of step 3 of Alcoholics Anonymous, how it works, how does this apply to your life? Well, let's break it down real quick. And we're not going to go too much, but I just highlighted a few things that you can actually see right back here. I could see many times where I should have died, or at least been injured, during my previous style of living. You know what, folks? There was a multitude of times that I suffered from acute alcohol poisoning as well as close to heart failure a lot in my drinking history. And it took really the act of something outside of myself that I couldn't understand at the time to bring me to grips with how the hell I am alive today. When I rolled my last car, folks, when I rolled my last car, that car must have rolled like 7 times into a farm field, and somehow I got nothing more than a scrape and a bump on my elbow, and somebody pulled me out of that joker and literally took me back to my apartment, and I'm alive to tell the story, and I was able to, thrive another day. And what does thriving mean for an alcoholic like me? I didn't learn from it at that point in time. It would take several times over events like that where something was in my life saving me time after time when I should have either been dead or got hurt at least, and I didn't. That there for me, folks, that there for me is enough proof of a higher power. Now, I don't know what your idea of a higher power is, or something that gives you strength when you don't have any. Drop that comment below so someone else can get some of that. Now, someone told me today, and this is where I would normally drink anyway. Someone told me today that, this channel is not good. This channel is pretty much garbage, and that I should stop because I'm wasting my time. You know what? If one person gets anything from what I'm putting out here, then I've done my job. And that's also how I know that for me, my higher power's will for me is to continue spreading experience, strength, and hope, because there are folks out there right now who don't have any, and that's where this comes into play. The matter of will, self-will, or God's will, because my self-will got me to drive the car drunk because I was willing to risk it all for the biscuit, so to speak. My self-will got me to tell lies to people, to cheat, to steal, and a lot of other things that I wouldn't normally do. That's what my self-will did with alcohol. When I turned that over, when I let Jesus take the wheel, so to speak, I don't have to worry about the big stuff. Yeah, okay, I have to think about it, but I can place that in the hands of my higher power and get a little guidance. And that may sound like poppycock to some of you, but maybe that's because you haven't reached that point in your life yet. The Daily Reflections is full of things that can help you in your daily life, regardless if you believe or go to Alcoholics Anonymous or not, regardless if you're a 12-step program recovery attendee or not, or actor, so to speak. It is only when I've experienced enough emotional pain through failed attempts to fix myself. Folks, that goes right along with the accident after accident after accident. I had to go through a lot of trauma and a lot of trying to self-medicate all the BS that has happened in my life, not only due to alcohol, but things in my past, in my childhood, and traumatic events that occurred in combat and other natures of my life. I tried to fix it all myself, and it did nothing for me but keep me bottled up, literally. So when I decided to turn my will and my life over to the care of a God as I understood it to be, not as a church says, not as religion depicts, but as a God as I understand it to be, to my higher power, the big stuff is, a lot of pressure. And now I call my problems small problems because I don't have to fester over things that I can't control. And that goes into something that I posted out yesterday, but I'm not going to go too far into that. I don't have to worry about the things I can't control. My higher power will take care of that. I only have to worry about the things I can control. And just to know the difference, which is the serenity prayer, and you can look that up also, that is the most important part in order to understand what God's will is for us, or what our higher power's will is for us. Now, I don't know what you think, folks, and I want you to drop some comments below, because if this channel is not enough for you, tell me what you want and I will make it enough. Or rather, I will do my best to share my experiences through what it is you're looking to hear about. Today's daily reflection is very important because, if I'm not willing to trust in a higher power, and I'm not willing to give my hard issues to something other than myself, then I'm going to take that on and I'm going to build up like a pressure pot or an Instant Pot. And my Instant Pot wouldn't have a valve to release all that steam, and I would just explode, which would lead me back to a drink. So that's where today's daily reflection comes into play, folks. I hope you all have a good day. There is another video coming up very soon about why do we deserve happiness. If you want to hear about that, stay tuned to the channel. Consider subscribing. And guess what? Life is a garden, folks. Dig it. Have a good day.